In the last video, we talked about decoding. In decoding, we are given observations x, and we want to find the most likely explanation z star. So we want to find the z star, that's the argument that maximizes the probability of x and z under our hidden Markov model. So we figured out how to compute this omega table, where we have this recursion, and we haven't proven this recursion yet. There is a proof on this slide for this, and I briefly commented in the last video how the proof actually works. So now we've given this table, then the optimal probability will be the max of the last column. A good exercise is to kind of think, why is that actually the case? If you need help, you could maybe try a look at the slides and see if you can find some hints in there. Great. So now what we want to do is, well, we might not really care about the probabilities. We might actually care more about finding the hidden states that are the most likely ones. I mean, knowing that the probability of them will actually kind of be an arbitrary number. This will be like a very low number, and you might really not care much about this particular number. You might more care about the states. So the way we get these states, this is called backtracking. So we go back, we track back. It's like finding a track back through the table. So what you do is you say, what is the most likely, well, you find the maximum entry of the last column. This will be the largest probability of any sequence of hidden explanations. So let's say maybe this was the most likely one. Well, then in the last state, we'll have low pressure in the last one will be the most likely step. So if this is Z star, then the last of them will C7 will be low pressure. Then what we'll want to figure out now is we want to figure out a path of hidden states that will actually lead us to this value. So we can do this by saying, well, actually trying to just recompute the same way we computed this guy before and figure out which one actually led to this value. So we'll just try to compute and we'll figure out which one caused this value. There might be multiple ones, and then take any of them, and we'll get like a path through the table by continuously doing this. And this path will give us like an explanation of like this will correspond to the state. So if this was the path, and I just drew an arbitrary path, but if this was the path where we would get by doing this trick, asking where could I come from and computing the possible ones and looking which one gave me the value, this would be low pressure, high pressure, high pressure, low pressure, high pressure, high pressure, and low pressure. So maybe let's look at the code for a bit, and let's see. So here I have the backtracking. So again, I have omega as my, this is the table we computed, x is observations, and I have the model with the transition probabilities and the emission probabilities. So a nice feature here is you actually don't need the emission probabilities to compute the arc max. They'll just be a constant. This line will find the argument that maximizes the last entry. So this will be like the last entry, and then we'll just loop for j is n-1 all the way down for the table, and we'll say, well, what was the value of the previous cell, and what is the probability of transitioning from that cell to where I am? And then the most likely one, we'll just take that one, and the most likely one should also attain the same value as the cell we're in right now if we took the emission probabilities with, but the emission probabilities will be multiplied on all of them. So when we want the argument that maximizes, we don't really need to care about the emission probabilities. Great. So I guess that's actually all I wanted to say about hidden Markov models. Thanks for watching.